I think every bonsai professional and artist desires to build that one tree that becomes the defining bonsai in their garden. You have Toryu no Mai at Masahiko Kimura's garden in Saitama. There's the massive Itoigawa bonsai named Hiryu at Eisei-en nursery in the Omiya Bonsai Village. And of course, the amazing trident maple forest that was built by the original founder, Mr. Takayama of Fuyo-en Nursery. Here at Eisei-en, this is that defining tree. This massive one-seed juniper, or Juniperus monosperma, was collected in 2015 by Richard Lee on his private property in the Four Corners area of New Mexico. It was collected at an elevation of approximately 4,500 feet in what essentially amounts to a desert environment. So when Richard pulled it out of the ground, he balled and burlapped the root ball, and in order to keep these guys alive, a lot of soil has to be taken out with the tree. So the tree actually weighed somewhere in the neighborhood of about 800 pounds. In 2018, when Eisei-en opened, Richard delivered the tree to the garden planted in a giant wooden box. Now, at that time, the tree had had no work done to it at all. It was still a raw piece of material. So for the first year here at Eisei-en, we just wanted to build the tree's health up, get it running, get it putting on a ton of growth, make sure that it was perfectly healthy so that eventually we could do an initial styling on the tree. Now, the initial styling didn't take place until near the end of the year in 2019. So the tree was allowed to grow for an entire growing season here in Nashville to put on a lot of runner growth and, again, just to build up the health of the plant. So for that initial styling, I actually did that as part of an online course with Bonsai Empire, where we built out new shari within the live vein of the tree, and I built out the basic branch structure on the plant. But at that time, the biggest problem with the tree was that it didn't have an apex. All of the top extension growth on the tree was too thick to work with, so that had to be removed and a new apex had to be grown out on the top of the plant. In the spring of 2020, the tree was initially moved from its original wooden box container into its final ceramic pot. Now, this took a massive amount of work. We had to build a gantry crane above the tree with lumber and hoist the tree up in order to work the root system and lower it back down into its ceramic pot. So this required some help from my apprentice at the time and some local help from John Cole, who's a potter here in Nashville, Tennessee. And the tree really did well that following summer. It put on a tremendous amount of growth in the summer of 2020, and I was able to restyle it in the winter of that same year. Now, during the course of its life here at Eisei-en, I would guess that somewhere in the neighborhood of about half of our intensive students have at some point put their hands on this tree. So that'd be in the neighborhood of about 50 to 60 people have at one point or another worked on the dead wood or worked on pruning the tree or removing wire or applying wire to the tree. So this really is a communally built tree here at Eisei-en. So now that we're in the process of relocating Eisei-en to Kyoto, Japan, this tree is going to have to leave the garden. And luckily it was recently purchased by a collector up in Milwaukee, and the tree's actually going to get picked up this week and taken up there to be put on display. So it's going to a very good owner, someone who's going to take care of it very well. And I have a feeling that you'll see this tree pop up here and there and possibly be back on display for the public at some point. Tatsumaki has been at Eisei-en since the day we opened our doors on September 1st, 2018. And now that we're moving back to Kyoto, Japan, it's bittersweet to see it leave its what I thought would be permanent spot here at the garden and move on to a new collection. It's my hope that into the future, this tree will be remembered and associated with me and with Eisei-en in Nashville, Tennessee, and that in some small part, it will be a lasting legacy in the United States for the Eisei-en brand name and for me as a bonsai professional.